listening to SuperPower Mommas on the SuperPower Up podcast, the show that embraces the art of soulful parenting.
Hello and welcome. I'm Laura Greco and you're listening to SuperPower Mommas, and I'm so excited to be with you today. I have a guest and we are going to be talking about a proven method to raise confidence out of chaos for our kiddos. And I'm speaking with Evelyn Cucchiara. Did I say it right, Evelyn?
Nope, not even close. Cucchiara.
Oh. Say it again?
Cucchiara.
Cucchiara.
There you go.
Anyway, I've known her for a long time, and I can't even say her last name, but she is she is a beautifully precise and very loving woman who brings a great business to parents. She offers parents who are tired of drowning in their toys some order. Not only does she get the mess cleaned up and organized, but she also adds a system so that the children can take over and clean up the cleanup chore, and absolutely love doing it, which is amazing. It reminds me of Mary Poppins, actually. So
I have been called that before, yes.
Yeah, so it's beautiful. Anyway, parents end up with a clean playroom, but the real benefit is that the kids are able to hone their skill in independence, confidence, and executive functioning skills that are such a reward to them in their entire life. So without further, and by the way, she's also a parent of 3 sons, right?
Yep.
So without further ado, let's just welcome you. Welcome to the show and welcome everyone for being here.
Thank you, Laura. I can't wait to talk to your people. I always love spreading the toy taming world. I'm known as the toy tamer, so I love spreading the toy taming word.
Yes, and I can't wait to get into some of your background so people can really understand in a full sense, how you've just developed this skill over the years as a parent and the other things that you've been doing. Mm-hmm. In the meantime, though, we always start off our show with this question. So what is your mama superpower, Evelyn?
My mama superpower is the ability to see what a kid's play space can be no matter how messy it is. I love walking into messy spaces because I can see, we can put the reading zone over here. We can put the art zone here. We can put the creative play zone here, even when nobody else can see that. So that is my superpower, seeing what could be best for the kids the minute I walk in the space.
Very, very beautiful. And how has this skill actually helped you in your own parenting time period?
Well, basically, I'm able to do that with any space, and with life. So I'm all about systems and habits so that life is not crazy. So as you said, I'm the mom of 3 boys who are now all taller than me. But when they were younger, I used to run a family daycare. So again, it was systems and habits put into place so I could see what the end should be like and then form the habits to make it that way. So the short answer to your question is life was very calm and peaceful and one level, as opposed to the roller coaster that I saw most families around me being a part of.
Yeah. And the fact that you were running a business as well.
Yes, I've always run a business ever since my first was 2 years old. So
yeah. So how did you did it in your home?
I did. My first entrepreneurship business was family daycare, and I did that specifically because I could not find daycare for my 2-year-old at the time that I was comfortable with. So somehow or another, I came across family daycare, which means you have state certified daycare in your own home. At the time, you could have up to 7 children, including whatever you had. So I had 7 kids every day. Me and 7 kids from 6:30 in the morning till 6 o'clock at night.
Wow.
Now, I have to say it's perfect when you're raising your own children because you're not trying to do other things while you're there. I mean, I ran it as a small preschool. We had, art time, we had reading time, science time, a whole schedule thing. So you weren't trying to get laundry done, and you weren't trying to run errands, and you weren't trying to do all that other stuff that makes you feel like you're stretched in too many different directions. Mm-hmm. I was focused on one thing. I was focused on my child and whatever other children were there at the same time. So it was perfect when kids are little.
So what I'm seeing here is another one of your superpowers, probably ties very closely into what you just told me, is that you are amazing at focus.
Yes. But I also like to have one focus at a time so I'm not overwhelmed.
Exactly. Exactly. Yep. And that's probably key to the word focus, is that it's not too many things at one time, which creates really peace in your heart and in your ability, and actually in your expectation also of the day.
Right. Yes. If you're already in fear of the day when you wake up because you got too much crammed into it, I don't think I could get out of bed in the morning.
Yeah, which is why you stick to this. So anyway, your journey came from being a mom, of course, and having your daycare. And so what brought you into this business you're doing now?
Well, my actual background is I have my master's in art education and my bachelor's in art education and art therapy. So I always knew I wanted to be a teacher. Mm-hmm. So I went, and an art therapist. So I went from graduating to being an art therapist for a couple of years, and then I worked in corporate in the art world for a couple of years, and that's when I started my daycare business because of necessity. I did that for quite a few years until I was having my third son, and I decided me and 8 kids all day long with no sick days and vacation only scheduled months and months in advance really wasn't working for me anymore. Mm-hmm. So I opened up an art studio for kids. And I originally thought I was going to do, school age kids, but in reality, it ended up my favorite group was the 2 to 3 to 4 to 6 year olds, the little guys. Mm-hmm. So I did that for many, many years, like 20 years. But in that business, I was the secret sauce. It was just me, because I couldn't really clone myself with that because of the different creative projects and such I came up with. And plus, it was also in my home, so I didn't really want to have strangers coming in my house. So I was doing that for a long, long time, and I was getting a little bored of it. So I was looking around for something else to do. And people would always say, why is your house neat and clean? And you always know what's for dinner every night, because I always wrote it on a tile. And I said, everybody lives like this. And they're like, yeah, no. I'm like, oh, really? So I wrote a book called 30 Days to an Organized Home, which became a bestseller. And from that, I attempted to open up a business in teaching young families better time management skills, because we all know that's what young families are lacking, time. We could just stretch the day to 48 hours, everything would probably be fine. But what happened with that business is that people would tell me they have no time to learn how to have more time. Mm-hmm. Now, I understand that, but we're not helping anybody here. So that was a failed business. Luckily, I was doing it while I was still doing my art studio, so there was nothing risked really. But then I took a closer look and said to myself, what can I do for these people that will not only give them more time, which is where the toy taming came from, so they don't have to clean up their playrooms, but even better, it teaches kids skills so that they can be better adults. And so I did both businesses simultaneously for about 2 years. And then about 1.5 years ago, I closed up my art studio, and I've been doing toy taming full time ever since.
Very cool. And I can't wait to dive in further with you, but we have to take a quick break. But I love the journey that you just described, and I can so see you in this journey, being that I know you, and why what you do is so effective today for parents and their homes. So before we leave, could you please give everyone your website or how they can find you and that amazing book if that's what they want?
Yeah. Well, it's very simple. I am the Toy Tamer at it's just thetoytamer.com is my website. On Facebook, I'm the Toy Tamer. Instagram, the Toy Tamer. My book is 30 Days to an Organized Home, and it is on Amazon.
Perfect. And thank you so much. And please, everyone, stay with us. You're listening to SuperPower Mommas, and we're talking on this topic of a proven method to raise confidence out of chaos for your kiddos. So we'll be right back.
Are you here to change the world? Do you talk about things like vibration, frequency, awakening, and consciousness? Are you pretty sure you have superpowers? The SuperPower Net is unlike normal coaching programs and conscious communities. We provide training, intuitive guidance, peer-to-peer learning, intensive one-on-one coaching, and a high vibrational network of people just like you. When you join the net, you get 24/7 access to a collaborative group of people who support you as you master your personal power and unlock your superpowers. If you're ready to use your superpowers to change the world, then join the SuperPower Net today. Visit superpowerexperts.com/thenet to learn more.
Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to SuperPower Mommas, and I'm Laura Greco, and we're here speaking with Evelyn Cucchiara.
Just call me the Toy Tamer. It's just
all right. That's Toy Tamer. And yes, and we're talking on the topic of a proven method to raise confidence out of chaos for your kiddos. So, Evelyn, I'd like to take this conversation really more in that direction, because you what you do, if you would describe that further and how that really does speak to, raising confidence in the other skills that you see what you're doing, providing to both the parents and the children.
Sure, of course.
Yes.
Well, what I actually do is I go into people's homes and I put in the right structure and the right system so that your children actually want to clean up their playroom. So it actually works off of immediate gratification. And when they match the toy to the picture of their own toy, doesn't matter how old you are, you want that rush of, yes, I did it. So that's what propels the whole system. But you have to have it set up in the right way, which I find most people do not. What I love about this system is that it plays into a child's natural tendencies. For example, we are currently raising children in this world who cannot do anything. I mean, that's shown by evidence. We have kids in high school who can't figure out their own college journey, kids who graduate college and their parents are helping them look for jobs. I mean, it's crazy, but we shouldn't be surprised because when kids are little, they want to be in charge of something, anything, and we basically do everything for them. So they're in charge of absolutely nothing. So what I've done with my system is I put them in charge of their playroom from the minute, all the way from the beginning. When it's time to clean it up, it starts with a bell that they ring, so the mom is not the bad guy. And then it gives them the tool so that they can easily put everything away. It ends with the bell, so again, they are in charge of that. But at the same time, it gives them the feeling that they are in control of this part of their life. And then can't talk today. An extra added part is that when they're surrounded by order, they start to think that way. So as they grow up, they can compartmentalize in their brains. Their school is in one part of their brain, their extracurricular activities are another part, their sports are in another part, and that just carries through with them throughout life. But if you don't start when they're young, like I always say, it starts with Peppa Pig and Lego in the playroom. If you don't start when they're young and give them the ability to thrive and shine in something that they can 100% achieve, what are we expecting to get when they're in high school?
Exactly. And, your background of working with children for so long, I'm sure, has helped you hone the skill of knowing how children really respond to their natural desire to want order and to have participation in a project.
Definitely. And it also comes into what they're fearing too. I mean, a lot of kids don't play in their playrooms because of the reason they can't find anything. I mean, that's obvious. Right. But another reason I found, a deeper reason, is it because they're afraid of whatever they build. Like, let's say you have a 5 or 6 year old who loves to build Lego. So we spend 20 minutes, 30 minutes down there building this cool Lego creation, leaves it wherever he is, and then his 3-year-old sister or brother comes along and knocks it over. Destroys it. I mean, then we've got tension right there in the household. But if we simply gave the older child a surface to not only build on, but then to display it on, that's completely and totally out of the reach of the little sibling, then there's no worry, there's no stress. But playrooms are not doing that today. Playrooms are just basically causing stress for the family. Yeah.
I watched I was listening to the developer of I forgot now what it's called, but simple parenting. In other words, going back to the simpler way of living, and not complicating our child's life, because it actually creates overwhelm.
Right, definitely.
Yeah, which we don't realize. We want to give them everything, and next thing we know, they're over. It's just over the top, and they can't think straight, and they feel, like you said, fear almost of dealing with things. So we've got the playroom all straightened up. We've got the child that is able to now participate and actually run the idea of cleaning up the playroom. What kind of skills specifically are they developing? We already know they're developing organizational skills, right? But what else are they developing?
They're developing self-confidence because they're running some small part of their own world. They're developing executive functioning skills with the compartmentalizing and such that I was talking about. They're developing independence. I mean, you want a child who's independent. You don't want a child who's going to be a follower their entire life. You want a child who knows what they want and can handle what comes across in life. So you have to give them a space to practice. And that's what the does.
I love that. I think that is something that would actually ease parents so much more.
Oh, it definitely does. I mean, definitely, positively. I have found a lot of times when moms clean up the playroom, what that usually entails is they put the toys into clear-ish type boxes with lids, and then they stack them up, and then they push them to the side of the room so that somebody can vacuum. And that's called being cleaned up. Because when you look in the room, yes, it looks organized. You don't have toys all over the floor and such. But in reality, then what happens is this. Your child is bugging you or is like hanging around you in the kitchen, and you say to them, oh, go down to the playroom and play. So your child goes down to the playroom, and they're literally looking around and going, I can't find anything. I can't see anything. I can't get to anything. If I pull something out, mom's going to yell at me anyway. So what they do, instead of trying to like exercise their imagination and creativity, they go to their absolute favorite toy that always interacts with them and will always, always be there for them. And that's you. That's the mom. Mm-hmm. So the child simply turns around, goes right back to the mom and says, I can't find anything. There's nothing to play with. And the mom is thinking, you have a bazillion toys down there. What are you talking about? There's nothing to play with. And the child, though they're not voicing it because they're too young, is thinking, I can't find anything. I can't see anything. So let's play together. And then, it's just tension, back, forth, back, forth, back, forth. But it's insane. It's like if you simply set it up the right way so the child can see and get to everything, then the mom can get a couple minutes of peace and quiet doing what she needs to do for the rest of the family, while the child is exercising their imagination and creativity all on their own.
I love it. I love it. And that creativity and imagination is so vital. Unstructured play.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. There's no such thing as unstructured play anymore because supplies are not there. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're either in a pile or they're all tucked away. And neither is conducive to creative play.
Or there's too much scheduling.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. So with all this in mind now, seems like a beautiful way to segue into a mom's maintaining her own autonomy. And how important do you see that to be?
That is 100% important because, my kids are now at the age where they're all taller than me. So I've got 2 in college and 1 out who's moved out and is working, which is excellent. But I see with a lot of my friends that when the mom's sole job is like easing their child's life, which today is what most moms' jobs is, when that child no longer needs that mom, if that ever happens, but in the perfect world, then that mom is completely lost. She has no idea who she is. Once you remove that I'm a mom bit from her, then what's left?
Yeah. Absolutely.
You don't want to go through that. I love my children to death. They're my favorite things in the whole wide world, but I could not wait till they went on and found their own lives. My goal, my as a parent, my reason for being, me and my husband, is to raise children who can survive in the world.
Exactly.
So let them go and survive in the world.
Right.
Go survive in the world. Come back home, when you need things, and we're always here for you. We have a nice, safe, and sound base for you. But take that safe, sound base and go explore the world.
Yes, because that's why they're here.
Right. We're giving them wings. We don't want to keep them tied down. So after they, flex those wings, what are you left with if you've done nothing but, ease that child's life for their entire life? You're left with a child who can't do anything and a mom who really doesn't want the child to leave because of the fact that she doesn't know what to do after the child leaves.
Right. And so, we can see then the importance of the ability to investigate and to explore and to have imagination for the child, and for a child to observe that same kind of patterning in the parent, right? That the mom is also exploring and learning and create. I know I created a business in interior decorating while my children were growing up, and I was creating window treatments and, all these things. And actually one of the teachers of one of my daughters said to me, look at what you're doing. I don't know if she says, if you really realize what you're doing for your daughters by doing this business that you're doing, she says, you are modeling for them that you are not just a mom, but you wear other hats and you have life in you. And that's a great example to your children.
Definitely.
Right?
Definitely.
So our children benefit, and now my one daughter's in architecture, right? And she says to me, I think about when I was growing up and you were creating these patterns. And I think I got some of that from you, what she does now, with her work.
Right.
So
definitely. I think one of the ways that you can tell, because sometimes it's hard for a mom to figure out, are they living enough of their own life, so to speak, Yeah. So when my kids were little or smaller, and we used to, I used to go out with some mom friends and go for walks and stuff like that, I would ask them, what's new? What's going on? And they would proceed to tell me what's going on with their children. And I would say to them, no. What's going on in your world? Just with you, not with your children. And they literally had nothing to tell me. That is not a good sign.
Interesting. And another interesting thing that I found very helpful, I don't know if you've ever experience this, but I was raising children. So I had the 4 girls. I had my work responsibilities and so forth, which was all part of the creative experience, right, of growing up. And then I began to realize if I don't take space for myself, just to not have to be working or taking care of children, like I think of things, I wish I had time for this or that. And then when I had time, I didn't know what to do.
You hadn't been exercising that muscle.
Exactly. So what I began to do was when I thought of something, I wrote it down.
Right. So you had a list ready to go.
Ready to go.
Free 10 minutes or something. You didn't have to spend 9 of them figuring out what you wanted to use the 10 minutes for.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's all the systems and habits thing again, like we were talking about at the beginning. Yes. You have a system or a habit where when you think of something you wanted to do, whether it's read an article, whatever, you jot it down so that when the time comes, you can quickly go do that.
Right. And you have an access point so that you're actually filling your soul.
Right.
And that's so important. So while we're getting close here, I want to really expand this conversation. I always ask the guests on the show, what do you see as the bigger picture of something greater than you that you're doing, you're a part of in the work that you're doing?
I'm a part of raising children who can actually run their own lives.
Right.
Yep. You know me, I'm simple and straightforward to the point. So
Yep. And that's a great big movement, actually.
Yes, it is. It is. I mean, like I always say, the clean playroom is simply the icing on the cake, and a good thing for mom because she's no longer in charge of it. But the real reason we're doing this is to raise children who can run their own lives, giving them the tools they need when they're young. We can't expect them to learn it when they're in high school.
No, it's already too late. Exactly. They're already excited about it when they're little.
Right. So it becomes a system or a habit that they don't even have to think about. So when your children get older, they're never going to have a kitchen that's got, you open the cabinets and 4,000 Tupperware fall on you.
Remember those days? That's true.
Yeah.
And I just thought of this too, we're talking about superpower mamas on the show, right? Superpower mamas, raising superpower children.
Right.
Right.
Definitely.
Capable of growing into the lives that they're about to be, living on their own eventually. And the point is that they grow into it naturally.
Right. By giving them the right tools. Correct.
Exactly. So as we come to the end of this show, I really want to know, is there some kind of tip you can give them? Is there a place they can go visit to learn something more about what you do? I know sure. you offer things, but what would you like?
My website is full of all sorts of information about the right size bins to use, where the labels need to go, what sort of shelving units you want, what sort of shelving units you don't want. I also do a DIY model for people who don't want me to come in but need some guidance. I do a DIY kind of a model of toy taming also. But my website is really the best place to find all the why behind the hows, for lack of a better term, and it's simply thetoytamer.com. And there's tons of videos there showing before and after. Everybody always loves a good before and after.
Mm. So can you explain to our listeners, in case they're not clear, because I wasn't clear, but what's would you call it?
Do-it-yourself model.
Oh, do-it-yourself.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay.
Do-it-yourself model, where I would give you an entire plan, a supply list, and everything on how you can turn your playroom into like the learning area for your children. Mm-hmm. As opposed to me coming in. Usually I just come in and do it so you don't have to do anything. But I also do the DIY model for people who are like in Montana or whatever, all over the place too. Yep.
Yeah. And you're located here in New Jersey.
I am in New Jersey, yeah.
And do you travel?
I do travel. I do.
For any of our listeners who might want to travel, or have you travel there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Positively. Because we do the entire transformation in one day. So that makes it easy to travel there.
Yeah. And I also wanted to mention too, we in the title, we said a proven method to raise confidence.
Definitely does. I check back with my customers all the time, and they are, first of all, amazed that it works as well as it does. And then they're like, oh yeah, this is just second nature. Of course it's going to work. It becomes so comfortable so fast.
Yeah. And just speaking with you, it makes it very clear that there is a system to this. It's very simple. It gets straight to, it communicates directly with the child at the age they're at.
Yeah, there is no learning curve involved in this. Sometimes customers say to me, how long before my children understand this? I'm like, it's instantaneous.
Yeah. I know I came to a presentation of yours and I remember listening to you. And as I listened, I realized what you were doing, taking pictures of their own toys so that they could, it's like a puzzle. Like,
yeah, it's a game. It just becomes a game that they can definitely positively win.
Yes. And the game, I just want to highlight this. Sometimes we can get really overwhelmed about chaos. Mm-hmm. And feel very heavy and like, oh, there's just no solution.
And feel that it's your fault when it's not your fault. You just don't have the right tools.
Exactly.
Not the mom's fault at all. Like, I go to many playrooms where there's tons of toys. There's no storage for those toys.
Yeah. And that's what I want to say, rather than make this about feeling guilty or make it about, that you're not good enough in some way. No, it's really more about finding the people who can help you to build the tools and getting really curious and playful.
It's like if you're trying to organize your kitchen without any shelves. Picture all your kitchen stuff piled up against the walls. Mm-hmm. How easy is it going to be to make dinner?
Right. Or stored in Tupperware containers that you can't even
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Doesn't work. Thank you so much, Evelyn, for being with us
Laura,
today.
for having me on.
Is there any last minute thing you want to say before we go?
I haven't seen you lately. Hope to see you soon.
Yes, me too. Me too. Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining our show, Evelyn. I really appreciate it. And
thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. And I want to thank all our listeners for being here. And please check out Evelyn's website, which again is, go ahead and say it again.
www.thetoytamer.com.
Perfect. So yeah, please check her out. And before we close, I just want to remind you, moms, that, you just love yourself for the treasures that you are. You already have all that it takes. Big changes start with small steps. So discover your superpowers and go out and be you. And we love you. Till next time.
Are you ready to discover your superpowers? Go now to superpowerexperts.com and take the Superpower Quiz today.